Hey guys, it's me again, Fati the Afghan Mystic. This is going to be a continuation of what I was talking about before because I got cut off at like the 30-minute mark. Spirit yelled at me. My phone cut off as I was talking about how I need to accept the fact that I'm a medium and receiving that message and thinking about that, okay? Then my phone stopped recording and told me that I was out of room, which wasn't true. So I don't know what that's about. I did take a little break though to go cook dinner, lunch, dinner, whatever. I poured my pasta down the drain. So that's the day that I'm having. God, so many realizations. Okay, so wherever I left off, I was talking about how I was having experiences of multiple people trying to get through to me the fact that I have the mediumship ability and that I am a medium. And as you can see, it's still hard for me to say that because I feel like there's a lot of me that still doesn't really understand what that means. Like when it comes to how I do readings and how I connect with people, I feel like there's definitely a differentiation, as far as if I'm connecting with your guides, if I have the energy of a loved one coming through, picking up on things, from the past or things I just shouldn't know, you know. I know that there's a lot more that goes into this work. I do not believe that I have fully given myself enough time to sit with that and expand with that. I had an experience when I went to Ireland, I think it was like Christmas 2023, I believe. Yeah. So, Christmas of 2023, my cousin flew me out to Ireland with her so she could, go see her boyfriend at the time, blah, 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 whatever. I was definitely going through a spiritual crisis during that time. Again, there's just always like in the winter, I swear, like right before winter hits is when like shit always hits the fan for me during like right before winter and then spring. I don't know what that's about. It probably has to do something with my astrology. I just don't know what it is. But I can pinpoint, at least for the last, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, where something has shifted around my birthday in the spring, okay, because my birthday is right around the spring equinox, and then right around like fall, winter, between usually November, December. And I don't know what that all means. But when I went to Ireland, I ended up taking it was another kind of like mediumship course with somebody that I was familiar with in the US. And it was somebody that I had resonated with online. And so I ended up, taking one of her workshops and, she was, I don't know, kind of channeling and like giving us messages of mediumship and I don't know, a couple other things. But I think I was disappointed for some reason because she told me something that I already knew. But again, even as I say it now, it still doesn't register or hit me. Like, what does the extent of that mean for me? And she told me that I had my grandmother coming through and that she just kept trying to stick it in my head that I'm a medium and that I have to accept the fact that I'm a medium and that's part of who I am and that's a role that I play. And I don't know, I feel like I was expecting her to tell me something different or like tell me something that I didn't know. And so when I heard that again, I was just like, okay, what am I supposed to do with that? Even right now, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. But I feel like when that last video that I was recording stopped, and I was thinking about how this work is really important and you learn so much going through your own spiritual processes, your own spiritual growth, dealing with, your own shadow, your own light, like dealing with all of the combination of the facets of yourself that you have pretty much denied most of your life or not understood, and trying to work through those things to get to a healthier place. It really is something. Okay. And it's so interesting just to see the journey of how things had unfolded. So, when I moved to Virginia in the fall, winter of 2020, we went to Georgia for Christmas that year, which is no, Thanksgiving, which is so random, right? Because what would we ever be doing in Georgia? It was the randomest trip. A lot of weird random things have happened to me. I still don't remember what exactly like pushed me to do this when we were down there, but for some reason one day we were going to dinner and I ended up looking up a crystal shop. And I haven't done that before, okay? Even though I know they exist, until I started this spiritual journey of my own, I literally had zero knowledge, zero interest, zero like anything in crystals. I remember my cousin who had gone to Brazil for some healing work. She's the one who has the mom who, is into this stuff. She had brought us all back like a crystal pendant, and she remembers me saying like how obsessed I was with it and how I kept it with me the entire time. But that was again before my awakening. That was before I dove into this stuff. Like I loved it because, I felt drawn to it and she brought it for me. But this was like at the very, very, very peak and beginning. And I, for the longest time, didn't even know what I had done with that piece. Hopefully, it's in storage right now because luckily, a year and a half ago, I did find it again. Thank you, Spirit. Which was also a synchronicity of its own. I'm tripping. But up until 2020, I literally had zero knowledge of crystals. I had zero interest. I didn't even know anything. And for some reason, and I still don't know what the reason was, but in November of 2020, I did stop inside of a crystal shop. I was like, oh, let's go to this crystal shop before dinner, blah, blah, blah. And it was some random place in Georgia, okay? Like, there's no reason, and I dropped a couple of hundos there, okay? And I was just excited. I was like, ooh, look at this. Ooh, look at this. And I was like, what's this for? What's that for? And I told my mom and my sister, I was like, get whatever you guys want. Like, it's my treat. And it was a whole thing. Um, Up until this day, there are still crystals that I had purchased at that store that I still haven't used. I'm sure there's a few that I haven't used yet. But like through my journey in the last 5 years, 6 years now, I have found that whenever like something comes up for me, I'll end up having a stone from that place that is the exact intention that I'm looking for at this time. So I really also find that interesting about how energetically we become open, right? We become open, we become drawn to things. Excuse me. It's just like your intuition, right? Like you don't always know when you know something, but you know you have this feeling. And when it comes to stones, like I genuinely have experienced this, but I also feel that there's such a like innate part of us that is attracted to that. There's a reason why we resonate with a specific color, a specific energy, a specific stone, and we don't always know what that is until you're going through something and you're like, ooh, that looks kind of interesting. Like I'll have been just hanging out in my room or something. And then one day I'm like kind of feeling some certain types of emotions or feelings or whatever. And then I end up making eye contact with like a specific stone. And I'm like, oh, I haven't worked with that one yet. That's interesting. What does it mean? And then sure enough, when I look into that stone after I've been carrying it for a few days, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like there's always a reason why you feel drawn to something. Like your conscious mind doesn't always know, but your subconscious and your body and your soul, just your energetic body, knows what it is that you're seeking and what you need at that time. So I feel like that's been super interesting, is just to watch how things unfold like with the intuitive abilities, and then with feeling drawn to certain crystals and things like that. And I ended up starting to work at a metaphysical shop in here in Woodbridge in 2023. And it was my first time working at a place like that, and I've had a lot of growth and experiences since then. But also, like, I feel like that was a catalyst as well. I feel like walking into that shop, I feel like the whole thing was synchronistic and was definitely a part of my journey at the time, because once again, I am no longer in contact with those people and they have dropped like flies out of my life. Hee hee. But I have learned a lot of valuable lessons. Mostly, I would say, in trusting myself, trusting my feelings, my gut, my intuition, not just my abilities, because I feel like it all comes together hand in hand. But it really comes down to a sense of trusting myself, trusting yourself, trusting what you're feeling, trusting what you're knowing, because at the end of the day, no matter what anybody tells you or tries to tell you, I fully and wholly believe that your intuition, once again, can never lead you astray. And like I said in the part one of this video, I felt all those things as a child growing up, as a teenager who was super sensitive, dealing with all kinds of people and energy and emotions, taking on people's energies and emotions, always having like the right thing to say, or just knowing how people are feeling and not really being able to describe it. But when you look back, it's like obviously it has a lot to do with, you know, being intuitive, being an empath, being energetically sensitive. And some of us just are way more sensitive than others. I do believe, um, I wholeheartedly believe that everybody has access to their intuition. But of course, it's the training of that, of how often do you listen when you get when you get that gut feeling, right? How often do you trust what you feel and what you know? And I feel like the more you trust, the more you believe that, the more you engage that, the stronger it gets, and the more connected you become to yourself and your sense of self and your knowing. Um, and that just, really strengthens your abilities, but also strengthens how you navigate this world, how you navigate this life, how you navigate pretty much just everything, honestly. Some people, honestly, I don't really know anybody else's experience. My nose is running. have felt in my gut most of my life when I am supposed to do something, when something feels right, when something feels wrong, when something doesn't resonate. But I also grew up with having a lack of boundaries and a lack of advocating for myself and always trying to people please and make other people happy. And now I'm at a point where, for the most part, I don't do that. And I learned another tough lesson about that during this winter, about advocating for my own needs and listening to that and speaking up about those things. But the thing about me is, I don't give a flying shitbag who you are and what you know or what you think you know. Uh, I will always listen to my intuition. I have learned the lesson of what has happened every time I didn't listen to it. Anytime, I ignored a feeling, I ignored a red flag, I ignored myself and my own needs for the sake of someone else, or thinking like, oh no, this person knows better than me, like they're smarter than me, they're further than me, they know what they're talking about. But oh, brother, at the end of the day, honestly, we're all on very specific individual journeys. And no matter how much you think that somebody else knows, I guarantee you, if you put that up against your intuition, there's no competition. Like your body, your soul, your cell, like everything in you knows what the truth of something actually is when you start to pay attention and listen to that. I'll just leave that where it is. But yeah, I've had significant moments these last few years, um, where I just knew I had a feeling, and spirit told me, like, you're going to be leaving at this time. You're not going to be here that much longer. You're going to need to travel during this time. You're going to have to be gone during this time. Like, you can't commit to things. And it happened every single time. Okay. By the grace of God, because I have no idea. I am but a mere mortal, I like to think, but of course we are all divine. So yeah, I mean the journey has been journeying. Okay, I've been reading professionally and publicly for the last few years. I have a shit ton of tarot decks. I've started getting into Oracle as well because I feel like the messages of Oracle cards are a lot more clear and concise. And they have like good, nice words of wisdom. But I also feel like, reading intuitively with tarot, sure, I know a decent amount of probably like the classic information, that you're supposed to know as far as like the numerology and the symbolism. Trust me, I do not know all the symbolism. There are people out there who know way more than I do when it comes to like the history of tarot, the symbolism that's within the cards and all of that. However, I'm very I'm very connected to art. I'm very connected to color, to imagery, to feelings, and like certain kinds of, I don't know, the way that things are illustrated really speaks highly to me. But I also have, a couple of decks that are just crystals. And like, because I've been working with crystals for the last 5, 6 years now, I have a pretty good, like, intuitive nudge about what that means. Like, this is one of my all time favorite decks, honestly. It's Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals. And they're not like anything fancy, okay? They literally, let's pull a card out. Oh, look. This is spirit working in real time. I literally grabbed it out of the middle right here without looking. I literally pulled the magician, okay? Um, okay, spirit, I think I hear you, even though my husband keeps telling me that the message he's been getting is that I'm not listening, and he's probably right. But listen, we pulled the magician, right? So this is a crystal card, crystal deck. It has Herkimer diamonds right here, and we have again the magician. So the magician in tarot is a number one. So it's literally, this is so comical that this is happening right now. 2026 numerologically is a 10/1 year. What does that mean? It means it's a year of new beginnings where, we ended cycles in 2025. Obviously, that's going to carry through until the spring equinox. But essentially, like, we're stepping into a new energetic year, which is all about the number one, which is fresh starts, new beginnings, a new journey, expansion, just being able to use the power of the magician, which, typically is still laughing at the fact that I just pulled this out and it was the magician. Like, magician energy is all about starting fresh, starting something new, being on the precipice of a new journey, right? Taking the leap. The magician has all of the tools that he needs in his tool belt. He has, the elements, he has the energy, he has the power, he has the creativity, he has everything he needs, you know, at his disposal to be able to bring his dreams into reality and bring them into fruition. Also, Herkimer Diamond is actually one of my favorite crystals. It's not actually a diamond. It's from this mine in Herkimer, New York, which is this very, these, they're quartz. They're quartz crystals, but they're very clear and they're very specific in their shape and their clarity and the energy that they resonate. And it is definitely a great stone for manifestation, for amplifying things, for literally grounding your dreams into reality. And again, I am receiving perspective as I'm saying this out loud, because right before the new year, I went on Etsy and I was like, I'm going to treat myself to a couple new rings for the new year. And they all got here like within, I didn't think they were going to get here until now. But luckily, thank you, Spirit, they got here like right around the new year. So if it wasn't like on the new year, it was right before the new year. And one of the rings that I ordered was a new Herkimer ring. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. It's from this company in India, which I'm obsessed with. They're all different shapes, but the way that they laid these Herkimers, like they're more flat. So it's got more of like a flat kind of base right here. I don't know. The lighting here, of course, I made it all weird. But I love like the setting of it and just how flat they made it. It's actually, I'll put it on right now. Meep. But yeah, so like I said, there are a bunch of different types of tarot decks. There are ones that have imagery. There are all kinds of artists and creatives, but like this is one of my favorite ones because of the fact that it resonates with stones. And just by like looking at the stones, because I've worked with them and because I, really hone into my intuition when it comes to these, I feel like I receive energy from these cards in like reading what that energy means. So yes, of course, the magician means, inspiration, new beginnings, a brand new journey, starting fresh, but also like being able to use the tools that you have to manifest your own reality, to bring your dreams into this reality and to ground them. And even though Herkimer is a clear quartz type, and quartz being, a master healer, also a stone that like amplifies your intentions and the energies. Like if you have it, if you have quartz working with a different type of stone, it'll also amplify the energy of that intention. I also think it's interesting that, and I can't remember why this is, but Herkimer is actually a grounding stone. It is more of a grounding type of quartz, which I can't remember why, but like I know that if you pair, Herkimer and black tourmaline, or Herkimer and they usually pair Herkimer and moldavite together, that grounds the energy of the moldavite. Like it still amplifies it and like kind of strengthens the intentions, but it also has this sense of grounding. I can't remember why that is, but as I'm saying this out loud, I'm just like literally and metaphorically speaking, Herkimer diamond is the energy of the magician, of grounding your dreams, grounding them into this reality, being able to manifest your desires into this reality. So I don't know. That was just a random card pull. Why am I surprised? I don't know. But then you have like, where are my other? We have other decks. So like I have this Tarot of the Mystic Spiral. And this has a ton of like mystical symbolism too, right? Like historically, metaphysically, all that other stuff. But then like, and that's the thing, I definitely am working on taking more time to learn more about different types of symbols and symbolism, because every deck is different. Every deck's energy is different. Every, of course, creator is different. And so the symbols, the colors, the drawings that they bring into them are always going to be different. Um, what is this? Oh my god, I love this. So, like this one, I pulled the Four of Wands, which is also beautiful because that is a card of celebration. It's four is a number of stability and foundations, which you can see this like foundational support here. But then the people like getting married and celebrating and having a good time. Oh God, that's nice. That makes me feel better. I could use that energy in my life right now. But yeah, just seeing like the different types of decks, and just like how you can resonate with them differently, how the energy is with everything. And I don't know. I understand that there are people out there, and there are teachers also that I follow that are very, adamant about knowing the history and knowing the symbolism and knowing, like the by the book way of doing things, which I don't think is wrong and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's always good to be educated. But I always tell people that while I know, a decent amount of symbolism and things that come up traditionally from like the Rider Waite deck, I read very intuitively. And I feel like for me, it's just a way of connecting to spirit in a more tangible and physical way to bring through those messages more clearly and concisely, and just having kind of more of an open channel without really thinking about it. I feel like when I sit here and I like try to channel, or like I put pressure on myself, it feels just like that. Like it feels like pressure, right? Because I'm like overthinking it. My ego is getting in the way, and it's like, bitch, you just have to show up. You just have to show up and start talking, and like the messages flow. Spirit channels through you. It's not coming from you. You don't even have to think about it. But your human ego mind is just like, no, I have to do it this way. I have to be like this. This is the way. Like it just. So when I, work with decks, when I'm reading for people, sometimes I'll have it in a way where like I'll have a couple of decks and I'll let them choose the deck that resonates, that they feel drawn to, and then we'll go from there. And then I'll, just pull, and energetically, spiritually, everything flows pretty clearly. And a lot of the times I find that like I'm closing my eyes because it helps me. I say this a lot. Closing my eyes helps me see better. And that has to be my third eye, just like my vision, and just like receiving that information. Even as I'm saying that right now, like my third eye is definitely like there's a pressure there and it's buzzing and it feels good. I also feel like when I start talking, I'm just like I go on so fast and trying to keep it grounded. But looking at myself right now, I'm like, bitch, you are not grounded. I'm floating in the ethers. It's very, being grounded is something that I struggle with. So definitely helps, to meditate, to breathe, to go outside and to touch the trees. I'm obsessed with trees. I take many pictures of trees and I definitely hug them just to feel like a sense of grounding, right? Feeling connected to the earth, to Mother Nature, but also just, I don't know, it helps me get to like a more grounded place. But I don't know, I feel like I'm starting to ramble now and I don't even know what I'm rambling about. I just knew that I had to make another part because that other video just ended abruptly by me yelling at myself that I have to accept that I'm a medium and I'm gonna try. When you commit to this spiritual path, it is not for the faint of heart, okay? You will be tested. Your strength, your resilience, your beliefs, your mental stability, your emotional stability, physically. Like, there are so many things that can happen that I don't think that we think about. And I have been experiencing multiple, okay? Getting into a car accident at the end of September 2025, which I have talked about in a previous video. Bitch, that sent me into a spiral too, okay? It's been a couple months since then. Since then, I haven't been working, so I've had a lot of time to go to physical therapy, to be with myself, to work through lots of pent up emotions, negative mindsets, different beliefs about myself, beliefs of things that I was telling myself that aren't true. Specifically because your brain literally is there to keep you safe, not happy. And boy, does it not keep you happy. So when people tell you that, shifting your mindset helps, it really does. And I'm in a place where I'm really working on shifting more of my mindset to a place of allowing myself to believe that, of course, I'm a worthy human of being on this planet. That's why the Creator created me, right? But also understanding the fact that my path is different, and I've known this since I was a child. I just didn't know what it was going to entail or what that was going to look like. And I have days where it is a struggle. Even some of the most recent ones, okay? I'm working on my mindset of breaking down any negative limiting beliefs around my abilities, my capabilities. Again, the fact that I live a different lifestyle, that I'm not working a normal 9 to 5, that the way that I do things and how I live and how I am are very different, and just working through those things and working on accepting those things, so that I can continue to build a life that I'm proud of, that I enjoy, that I care about, that I'm grateful for, which I am. It's just when you're in a very spiritual place, when you're having an awakening, when you're going through things that you can't fully explain or understand, and you don't have community around you, that becomes harder. So, highly recommend, putting yourself out there, talking to spirit about attracting the right people, places, and things that feel aligned for you. When you go into a certain shop, if you meet somebody specific, your soul, your energy can read that person immediately. You will know if it's a yes or if it's a no. And if you're not really sure, I mean, generally I feel like that's a no. But also sometimes fear does step in. So just learning discernment as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you can't trust everything. You can't trust everyone. You can't believe everything that you hear. Definitely be discerning about your own experiences and how, you feel drawn to certain people, places, or things, and just kind of exploring that, but in a way that feels good for you and not feeling forced to do things. When you're on this path, it can be really lonely, and it is. But sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because there's a lot of times where I know in my life when I was younger, I basically was always trying to run away from myself. I was trying to run away from my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions because they were so heavy all the time. They were always weighing down on me. And so I would use any type of escapism to get out there, to not be alone, to not sit with myself, to not be with my feelings, to not be with my thoughts, and to just like try to drown them out. So that was, Lord help me. Please hold.